really not supposed to speak to strangers, but we've met before.
In 1959, Walt Disney released his third feature-length film after 9 years of difficult challenges and countless hours of work. Sleeping Beauty, loosely based on the fairy tales of Basile, Perrault, and the Brothers Grimm, tells the tale of Princess Aurora cursed at birth by the evil Maleficent to prick her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel on her 16th birthday, ultimately causing her death. Saved from the curse of death by the good fairies, Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather, she is sent off to live the first 16 years of her life in the forest as Briar Rose, kept away from her parents, her throne, and her fate. One of the most iconic castles in the world is Walt Disney's Sleeping Beauty Castle in Anaheim, California's Disneyland Park. However, when you travel across the country to Orlando, Florida, the famous film does not get as much recognition. With less than 10 references across the park, it can make one wonder why Sleeping Beauty does not get more credit in the world where dreams come true. Unfortunately, Aurora is not a popular or favorite princess, mainly due to her lack of lines and characterization in the film. Nowadays, contemporary princesses have more agency and make decisions for themselves. In Sleeping Beauty, not only is Aurora unable to make decisions, but she is barely in the film. With only 18 minutes of screen time and 18 lines of dialogue, the audience can barely form an opinion on her. In Charles Solomon's book Once Upon a Dream, From Perrault's Sleeping Beauty to Disney's Maleficent, contemporary art director Paul Felix said, "I have a soft spot for Aurora. I found her charming and the animation is exquisite, but she disappears halfway through the story, and that to me is the biggest disappointment of the film." In Magic Kingdom's Festival of Fantasy Parade, crowd favorite characters and stories are celebrated in a show full of dazzling effects. In fact, one of the famous grand finales is Maleficent's dragon barreling down Main Street, and at the perfect time, a puff of fire comes out of her mouth. Preceding Maleficent are the three good fairies and Prince Philip waving to the crowd in great show. However, there is noticeably one element of Sleeping Beauty missing: the Princess Aurora herself. Aurora rarely stands alone as an entity in the parks. As a part of the Disney Princess franchise, she is included as a memory of Walt's three leading princesses in shows like Dream Along with Mickey, or Princess Meet and Greets at Cinderella's Royal Table. Once Upon a Dream is included in the score of the famous fireworks show, Wishes. In fact, her meet and greet was bumped from Magic Kingdom's Princess Fairy Tale Hall and sent to France in Epcot, one of the countries from the three originations of her story. She now has a pop-up meet and greet in the courtyard at Town Square near the main entrance of the park, yet it is a difficult spot to find with little to no information on the My Disney Experience app. Charles Solomon claims in his book that Maleficent dominates Sleeping Beauty despite her limited amount of screen time. He also brings up an excellent point. All of the action in Sleeping Beauty is indeed initiated by Maleficent, from the curse to the capture of Prince Philip. When Disneyland opened in 1955, the castle did not belong to Snow White as Walt Disney had formerly envisioned. It belonged to the Princess Aurora. Charles Merritt, art director for Walt Disney Imagineering, explained in Chris Solomon's book that Walt started calling it Sleeping Beauty's Castle ostensibly to cross-promote the film while it was in production. Walt also decided that he wanted to use the alcoves and walkthrough of the castle to promote the film as well, using miniature sets, projections, and cutouts. Disneyland continues to be the home to Sleeping Beauty's castle, forcing one to draw the conclusion that because her home is in Anaheim, California, that it is not necessary to largely promote the classic Disney film in the Orlando park. Unfortunately, very rarely do Imagineers or Walt Disney Parks and Resorts make statements explaining every carefully calculated move, especially when it comes to entertainment. However, through careful consideration and analysis as a frequent parkgoer, my hypothesis relies upon Aurora's individual popularity. With Anna and Elsa's meet and greet wait times generally up to 90 minutes, and wait times for Aurora typically under 30, it is clear that Walt's original lady is being phased out of popular culture for young girls. Meanwhile, Maleficent is popular as ever when it comes to Disney's lineup of mischievous villains. Featured as the finale dragon in the Festival of Fantasy and Fantasmic, it is clear that the enthrallment with the evil sorceress is still prevalent to park-goers and film fans. Finally, Sleeping Beauty's castle is in Disneyland in Anaheim, California. Having never attended Disneyland Park, my opinions regarding Aurora's status could be a flawed argument. However, Cinderella Castle and Walt Disney World Resort brings with it many attractions and regard in order to make theming work on all levels. One can only imagine the same likeness for Aurora in Disneyland.